This episode of The Cellar Door is proudly brought to you by That's Amore Cheese. Visit that'samorecheese.com.au to check out their huge range of gourmet cheeses. And don't forget to follow them on Facebook.
Hi, welcome to Cellar Door and welcome to Heathcote. Once famed for its gold, now famed for its exquisite wineries. Today we'll be visiting two of them, Vinea Marson and Silver Spoon Estate. Let's go. Peter, you are the owner and winemaker here at Silver Spoon Estate. Explain to us what estate means exactly.
Yeah, well, estate is derived from the French concept, where the grapes are grown on the property and the wine is made on the property.
So all of the wine that's made here is from grapes that grow on this property?
Yes, 90% is. So all of our reds, which are 90% of our production, is grown and made here. The whites are grown here, and they're made with a winemaker in Bendigo because they have refrigeration facilities that we don't have here.
Sure, because we're
solar.
Yeah.
Solar powered. And at this point in time we don't have the solar capacity to be able to do refrigeration.
Sure. Now Heathcote's known for its Shiraz, but you grow 4 other grapes here as well?
Yes, yeah. We actually think there's a real opportunity to grow some different type of varieties that respond to the same sort of climate and soil type that we have here in Heathcote. So we're really fond of the Viognier that we grow, our Grenache, our Tempranillo and our Mourvedre. And we also do blends of those with Shiraz, so it gives us quite a lot of flexibility in terms of making different styles.
And is that something that you're experimenting with more and more? Because you came to winemaking sort of relatively recently.
Yes, it was 2008 that we decided to get into the game. So it is 9 years now.
Yep.
So I'm still relatively young in the world of it.
Yep.
But yes, we were in Spain last year, and they blend Grenache and Tempranillo. So we decided to see how that tasted here. So we created a Grenache Shiraz Tempranillo blend, the GST.
It has an excellent name.
Yeah, we call it Death and Taxes.
So good.
But we think that's a really special wine, and we're just about to release that.
Fantastic. So Heathcote is unique in that a lot of the cellar doors are run by families. Your cellar door is quite unique, I would say, in that you have your ornamental vines there, and in here you have your tanks, you have your barrels. Sort of tell us about that experience.
Yeah, so basically the winery and the cellar door is the one location. So for a small part of the year we have to take over for the winery wine production, but for most of the year a lot of the winery area doesn't get used, so we actually bring the cellar door into the winery. So people come in and they can see the barrels, they can see the vats. If things are right, we might actually get a taste of a barrel or taste out of the tanks.
So people are
but it's very versatile, and I think people enjoy the fact that they're not just going to a counter where there's a sales professional who's on the other side. They're actually meeting the people who make the wine and are in the environment when they taste.
So they get to experience pretty much every element of winemaking.
Yeah, well, in fact, when we were here during vintage, we actually had the fermenting vats here, and people could come, they could taste the grapes, because we had grapes on display here, and they could plunge the wine. And when we were pressing, they could actually see us pressing and taste the wine that was coming out of the press. So that was a bit of a good experience for them.
That's amazing. Now, you were originally a geologist.
Yeah.
And was wine something you were interested in back then as well?
Well, it happened that I worked as a geologist in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales. So living there, I got associated with the wine industry there, and that led to I guess a growing interest in wine, which I've had all my life.
Mm-hmm.
This is always something.
Is that a little pun in there?
Well, it's something that I've always wanted to do, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so you can spend a lot of your life in an office and in traditional business, and this gives us an opportunity to do something different.
Yeah, amazing. And there's soils on your estate.
Yeah.
Are they all Cambrian?
Yeah, so we have the red soil
Did I
here.
sound professional?
Yeah, so we have the red soil, and it's not. Cambrian is very, very old, so it's 500, 600 million years old. It's the earliest form of life
It's quite old.
on the planet. Yeah, so the rocks are that old. So at one time, this area here was like 10,000 feet below sea level, and there were submarine volcanoes that were spewing lava out onto the sea floor, which actually created the rocks that form the red soil
And
here.
that's what your vines are growing in?
Yeah. So it's very deep soil, it's very rocky soil, so it's not rich in nutrients, but it's well structured, which means it holds water and it holds air very well. So vines can exist without a lot of rain because the water can be stored in the soil.
Amazing. And from that, you get these?
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun producing the different varieties and seeing how things evolve.
Can't wait to taste them.
Yeah.
Peter, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, George.
So, Tracy, you and your husband Peter bought the vineyard together sort of as a retirement idea?
Yes, as a retirement plan. So I was working in the retirement industry, and I used to see people all the time in working out what they were doing in their retirement and helping them to move through transitioning. And I said to my husband that I wondered what, at 54 years of age for himself, it's only 10 years before he's going to retire. And I said, what are we going to do? And so he thought about that, and he came home one day and he said, did you get your present? And I said, what present? And he said, I've got something for you. So he came with a for sale sign for a vineyard, and I just sort of thought, oh, what has he done? You know, he's gone and bought a vineyard. But he said, no. He said, you're right. He said, we need something that we can do together, use our business skills, sales and marketing skills, something that we can be fit and active, be outdoors, be in the country. He said, so why don't we own a vineyard? And I went, okay.
And what had wine been for the two of you up until that point?
For the two of us, we had always bought our wines at winemakers at different wine regions throughout Australia. We actually hadn't been to Heathcote, which was interesting. We came across them at the Caulfield Market Caulfield Market one day and saw all these amazing wineries and wines from Heathcote, and just couldn't believe just how beautiful it was, and said, where the hell is Heathcote? Like everybody does. And so we came up to Heathcote and we had a look, and we realised it's 90 minutes from Melbourne. There's no traffic lights driving up here. It's a beautiful drive coming up through Lancefield, and it's just gorgeous. So we've got everything here. So we just decided that we buy this place.
And the history of the land is very important to you.
Yeah, it is. So we're a great believer in preserving what we've got. There's a lot of trees on this property that are actually over 400 years old, so they're pre-Captain Cook. So that's pretty special in itself. A lot of grey box eucalypt are actually here. It's some Aboriginal sacred sites on the property that are actually registered, and very respectful of what we've actually got. We've got beautiful Cambrian soil here and rock. We've got a 325 metre hill that is just beautiful, and we've got full 360-degree views. So we really do need to preserve what we have and keep this for generations to come.
And you've taken that philosophy
into our vineyard as well.
Yeah, you're off grid.
Yes, so we're off grid. We felt that it was important to actually keep the sustainability and once again preserving the land, and so we wanted to make an off-grid winery so that then we could just, keep everything as natural as possible and not have power lines around the place. So we've done that.
And is that philosophy common to the Heathcote area, that sort of respect for the land, or is that something that you and Peter have really?
Oh, look, I think everybody sort of is very respectful. You have to put back what you take out, and this is our livelihood. So this is, we're growing these grapes and we're taking from the land. So we need to put back. So we do a lot with fertilisation and really looking after and preserving. We very rarely spray. We don't need to here, so we're very lucky with having. Not having any issues with disease pressures, and so what we do is we try to keep things as natural as we possibly can.
Beautiful.
So that helps with the winemaking too.
Of course, yeah. Tracy, where does the name Silver Spoon come from?
The Silver Spoon name comes from a silver spoon fault line that runs through the property. My husband, being a geologist by trade, 35 years after he did his geology degree, it actually came to fruition that he could actually utilise his skills. And that being said, is when we looked at the land and walked up the hill and saw how beautiful it was and the Cambrian soil that was on the property, Peter got a geology map and we impregnated the land title on it, and to see exactly what the scope of the soil actually was. And what we realised is that there was a silver spoon fault line that actually run through the property, as well as a couple of silver spoon mines that actually run through this Mount Camel ranges. So the name we actually took to the different businesses that we were working with at the time, and we did a bit of trial about it, and there was a lot of people that said that a silver spoon could be something that you've got a bit of a plum in your mouth, so that was okay. But the thing that was interesting is that when we asked people what we thought that it was related to, they said it was something to do with food. And so that was very important. So it actually had a dual meaning for us. It was being, once again, respectful to the land, but it was something that was actually to do with food. So that was a winner for us.
Yeah, that's great. And you've just collaborated with Uno to do some new artwork for your wine labels.
Yes. So 2015, we're actually launching in June in 2017 our new wine labels, and we appointed Uno to actually do the work for us because they're just exceptional in what their design aspect. So we wanted our wine labels represent the Cambrian soils, the diversity in the patchwork of the vineyards on the property, and just being respectful to the land. So it's got a slight Aboriginal look and feel about it, but it's actually about the colours of the Cambrian soil.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, just like this beautiful winery.
Yes,
Tracy, thank you for having us.
That's all right. Thank you for coming.
That's Amore, hey, that's Amore for you.
Giorgio from That's Amore Cheese, welcome back to Cellar Door.
Hi George, good to see you again.
You too.
What are we talking today?
Talk to me about
this. Something that really is correlate a lot with our wine and the Cellar Door program. Practically, this one is a special cheese. It's called Drunken Buffalo. Wow. Practically, this one, the name is very exciting.
Yeah, I like the name a lot.
Why is that? Because this one coming from the combination of buffalo milk. You can say the white color of the buffalo milk with wine lees and grape skin from Nebbiolo wine. Provided to us from Mario Marson, from the Vinea Marson. Probably a few years ago we met together with Mario, and his idea was to produce this original cheese using grape skin and wine lees integrated on the maturation of the cheese. For creating something a little bit more important, we use the buffalo milk as very precious, and we arrived to the solution to the production of this particular cheese. Drunken Buffalo, even the name is already nice and fancy.
Yeah.
It's a particular cheese is maturing minimum 6 months before we put on the market. In this maturation, it combines the wine and the property of the wine lees, the grape skin, go into the cheese a little bit as well. And also when you eat, you can eat a little bit of the skin. if you found some grape seeds, they're also very good for you and combine very well with the combination with the cheese. And the buffalo milk is a very intriguing cheese with a lot of character and flavor, very, very unique.
Yeah, I've never heard
Of course, you need a glass
like
of Nebbiolo with that from the Vinea Marson.
Absolutely. Speaking of Vinea Marson, I'm going to go and visit your partner in crime.
Oh, fantastic. Cello.
I will. Thank you, Giorgio.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Ciao.
That's Amore for you.
So, Mario, you are the owner of Vinea Marson, which is your vineyard.
Yes.
But you have been the chief winemaker here at Sunshine Creek for 5 years.
Yes.
But you're returning home.
Yes, I'm returning back to Vinea Marson, and so to take on, to just get back involved in it on a hands-on, and so be close to the vineyard instead of spending a lot of time driving up and down the highway.
Sure. So wineries are sort of in your blood. You've got a long family history with making wine and owning vineyards.
Oh, look, my father always used to make wine, and so that was part of what he sort of always grew up doing. And both my grandfathers had their own small vineyard, and even my great-grandfather was the winemaker for the local landowner in northern Italy. And so that's where that connection with wine has come in. Hopefully I've inherited some of those genes.
Yeah. Well, I think you must have, because you have a reputation for Nebbiolo, which is an Italian varietal that you've been growing successfully.
Yes. Nebbiolo is one of the varieties I do grow at Heathcote. It's always quite a different wine. It's quite a challenging wine, but it's such an interesting wine that it's always, sometimes I think, why did you plant so much Nebbiolo? But then 2 weeks later, I might look at it and think, oh, this is fantastic. But yes, it's an intriguing variety to work with.
When did you first find yourself drawn to the Nebbiolo grape?
I spent about 25 years working in the Yarra Valley. I was a winemaker at Mount Mary in Lilydale, and one year, I think it was '94, John sent me over to the owner, Dr. John Middleton, sent me over to France to do vintage, and we went, or the whole family went, and we spent time in Italy. And so I travelled around Italy, and I just fell in love with Italian wines, and Nebbiolo was one of them. So that's where it all started from.
Beautiful. So you grew up with a vineyard in your backyard?
My father had a vineyard in his own backyard, but there's always been involvement in wine in autumn, because Dad would always buy grapes, he'd make his own wine.
Were you a part of that process?
Oh, always. You're always part of that process. It's like making the tomato sauce, the passata. It's the same thing. That it just brings family together, and you do those things as part of that family life. But as a child, I can always remember Dad helping him to crush the grapes, or we'd go off and you'd harvest your own grapes and bring them back and process them. And I can remember doing that at a vineyard in Heathcote. And beautiful. There's a bit of synergy there.
Yeah.
But there was also times that Dad would buy a barrel of wine and then you'd bottle it up. And so there's all those little nuances that you have had through growing up.
So when you say that you were processing the grapes at home, what did that look like? I imagine it wasn't like the processes we see.
Oh, no, very different.
Were there bare feet and grape stomping?
Not so much bare feet, but there was stomping. And actually, I've gone back to stomping bare feet in the winery. So
Really?
it does happen. But it's just seeing all those different processes, and we didn't have the equipment that I've got in the winery now, and so from that point of view, it's very different. But as I said, it's a very simple process. You take grapes, a bit of yeast, and off you go. So yes, it is quite an ancient technique or
There's a timelessness to it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you have an affinity with Nebbiolo.
Yes.
Is there something unique that Vinea Marson does with it that sets you apart?
It's still very early days with Nebbiolo, and I'm learning myself. I've tried to get a number of different clones of Nebbiolo and tried to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
I've even imported my own clones just to impart differences and also to see if there are differences in different clones. I've shown my wine in Piedmont, in Barolo, and they've asked me, am I trying to make a Barolo? And I said, no, I'm just trying to make the best Nebbiolo I can grown in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that I'm trying to do.
So it's a wine unique to the location that you're growing in?
Yes, and
which is sort of the history of wine, isn't
exactly,
it?
Exactly. And so I'm just trying to make the best one I can, and I'm learning as I'm going along this path.
So Madeline, we're here at Vinea Marson, and what do you do here?
I do a little bit of everything. I have a bit of responsibility for our marketing and trade and various things across the business, and bit by bit I'm moving into the winery to help my father and learn from him all of his years of experience, as well as helping build the new cellar door that we're in and launching that project that we've undertaken over the last couple of years.
This is beautiful.
So when we found out about some funding that was being offered for cellar door projects and the like, we thought, why not take that next step, one that Mario had not envisaged over the last 10 years. And we said, well, it can be our responsibility, my mother Helen and I, to run and to really be able to offer, you know, the spread of Italian hospitality and good food and wine on a more regular basis than we had been in the past. So
because before that, it was literally your family table.
Yeah, literally in the kitchen, with the potbelly stove and, you know, all the rest of what we have going on up here. And we thought, well, we'll take the kitchen table with us and we'll build a space around that. So it's really designed to be people sitting down for a chat, a little bit of antipasti, some cheese and meats, and enjoying the wines the way I've grown up experiencing them and the way Mario intends them to be enjoyed.
Quite an Italian style.
Yeah, we call it the Marson family table. So one of my sisters did say, though, I hope it's without the fights. So we'll sanitise it in that way, but we hope,
bit of passion.
Bit of passion, you know, bit of argument. It's all in good fun. So.
So tell us about the graphics for your new label.
Okay, so the Vinea Marson label, we've got 3 main labels. The first one is the church, and that is our main label, so for wines from Heathcote, so mainly our red wines, plus our Viognier that are grown on this site. The church is taken from an etching by my cousin in Italy, Maurizio, and he gave us this etching that we then designed the label around. The labels have been designed by Ingrid Langtree, who many will know as the co-owner of Ladro, the restaurants in Melbourne. So she's then helped us adapt these 2 other labels as well, which are the Edelweiss and the Fleur de Lis, which have links back to crests from the region that my family's from in Friuli. So we try and keep that connection strong whilst, you know, maintaining that the wines are very much of their Australian place. So, yeah.
Tell us about these little
people in the photo.
Who are these little guys?
So they are, the man on the left, my great-grandfather, one of my dad's cousins as a little child, and my grandparents, Grace and Joe. And Grace we actually named a wine after, the Grazia.
Yeah.
So she migrated to Australia in the 1950s with my nonno, and she was a bit of a trailblazer in her own way, a bit of a strong, formidable woman from Friuli, and she worked very hard throughout her life, well into her 80s, and was very much involved in the Italian club community and the Bocce Federation. So the wine we have named after her, the Grazia, is a blend of northern Italian varieties, Pinot Bianco, Malvasia d'Istria, Picolit and Friulano. So 3 of those varieties are indigenous to Friuli, and they're all grown there. So her father as well was a grower of Friulano in the area, so we wanted to pay homage in that way and create this really interesting, complex white blend to honour her and to try this new style here in Australia. Yeah, so we produce our own olive oil from some trees that we have at the end of the vineyard property. We've just planted some more as well, so we'll expand that over the coming years. Great with a little bit of salt on top, with some bread dipped in. And Mario has for a number of years produced a Syrah jelly, so wine jelly made from Shiraz, that is a great accompaniment for cheeses and meats and things like that.
It's delicious.
It's very good.
And you have a different method of eating it,
yes, so as a young person, as a child, I used to enjoy it with a bit of butter on toast, so I just can't get away from that. But it's great in chocolate sponges with cream and things like that as well, so it's a very versatile jam, a very versatile spread that most people use like a quince paste and have it on their cheese platter, that kind of thing, so it's delicious.
Speaking of cheese platters, I can't wait to get stuck in.
Yeah, we're going to try some?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Cheers to the Nebbiolo. Thank you.
Cheers. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Well, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed Heathcote as much as I have. We'll see you next time.